I was in hiding for a while. You really have to make your own opportunities.
There is no cavalry.
A chemical company that manufactured Agent Orange.
I'm okay with messing with the script some.
I had to learn from doing very bad short films.
The immediate red flag was, we're not going to give you anything. Give us your movie. And then if it makes money, then we'll give you money. That's red flag like times 10.
Welcome to the Action Addicts Podcast. I'm your humble host, Lord Benjamin Nathaniel Reddick II, aka the Violence Conductor. We have with us Danyelle-Weatherford, aka D Rock Royalty, and special guest, looking like Nico Robin from One Piece. I love it. And special guest, Laura-Perez of Alma Libre Films.
Hey guys.
All right, did I get that right? Alma Libre?
Alma Libre, yep. Perfect.
Okay, and what does that mean?
It stands for free spirit.
Ooh, I
free
love
spirit
it.
In Spanish. That
is going to match up with the topic of today. Well, the topic every time we do a podcast, it's always the same kind of stuff. We're about independent filmmakers, especially all filmmakers, but specifically independent filmmakers, being able to make a living. Because as we say, if we cannot do business, there is no show. So right. That is what we are about. So Laura is actually, if you were at the Austin Action Fest in 2025, you got to see her on one of the panels, and it created a stir. We had some experienced filmmakers in there that were actually very inspired by the words that she had to say when she was on our distribution panel with Janelle Vela-Smith and Keith Vitale and Keith Strandberg. So we're glad to have you back.
I'm honored to be back with you. I love the community that you've created with Austin Action Fest, and just great people. So I was delighted to be invited back here with you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, I think Danyelle has some things to say as far as bringing you in to really let people know who you are. Am I correct, Danyelle?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? Because I've been having some audio issues. I'm in my new studio in here, and it's in construction right now. So I'm building it myself. So you're getting a little bit of behind the scenes type of thing that's happening in my studio here. So
looks great. It looks like it's already built, ready to go.
Oh, yeah. No, but thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Lots of painting I have to do a lot of other stuff. But yes, I have an introduction that I like to do for our guests. And let me pull it up, and here we go. Oh, let me make sure one thing, because I didn't ask you. Your middle name, is it Elisa? Elisa. Okay, yeah. Elisa. Okay, thank you. Put a period on that one. All right, here we go. All right. Tonight, Austin Action Addicts is honored to welcome an award-winning filmmaker, writer, producer, director, educator, and founder of Alma Libre Film, LLC, a creative force whose work boldly shines on a light on stories too often overlooked, while honoring the people and communities of their heart. Raised just miles from the Texas-Mexico border as a proud third-generation Mexican-American, Laura-Perez brings to her work something you can't fake: deep cultural roots, lived experience, and a powerful understanding of identity, resilience, justice, and what it means to be seen. Professionally, she's built an extraordinary body of work. She co-wrote and produced Harvest of Redemption, an award-winning bilingual feature created on a $25,000 budget that won Best Foreign Feature at the International Family Film Festival in Hollywood, and secured national distribution in both the United States and Mexico. Her directorial debut, The Place in Between, is an emotionally rich and intimate story exploring her motherhood, identity, reconciliation, and healing, produced by an all-woman team and recognized for elevating voices both in front and behind the camera. She is also directing American Orange, a groundbreaking documentary exposing environmental injustice in South Texas border community, a powerful story of truth, resilience, and reckoning. Add to that a Juris Doctor, a background in psychology, communication, and theater, years of judging major screenplay competitions, including Final Draft's Big Break, and now helping shape emerging storytellers of Texas State University. Go Bobcats. Yes. Right here in our Central Texas Creative Corridor, Laura embodies what happens when purpose, intellect, artistry, and heart collide. She doesn't just make films, she builds bridges between culture, truth, humanity, and story. Austin Action Addicts, please help us welcome the remarkable Laura-Perez.
Wow. Thank you. That was so generous and kind. Thank you so much.
It's got Bobcats.
I need here it is. I was looking for this right here.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. So, to kick things off, we'll start right from the beginning, and then we'll get into all the super meaty, detailed stuff. What got you into film? Like, how did this whole journey start?
It started with me as an actress. I thought that, that's what I was going to do. So I studied that at a junior college. That's where I started, at a junior college in East Texas, Tyler Junior College, which is where I started I started in high school, but I went and studied theater at a junior college, and it was a really intense program. You think JCO, you're like, but it was such a wonderful foundational experience with great educators. And, I was on scholarship. So it was a program where you had to do so many plays, do so many hours behind the scenes, and also be on the competition team that traveled. So that kind of created the foundation, I think, of hard work for me. So that's where I started, behind the camera as an actress. And then after shooting my first film, Harvest, which I co-wrote, produced, and was the co-lead in, I just realized, since I had to wear all those hats as, producer on set, then I fell in love with that part of it, behind the camera. And that's when I, started focusing more on the production work behind the scenes.
Awesome. Okay. That's kind of how a lot of it goes in my experiences. Most people come in saying, I want to be an actor, I want to be an actress, or something like that. And then they kind of, because they have to, start doing a lot of the other things. And then they find a couple of other things that they enjoy. They might jump back and forth into acting, but they find a couple of things that they can really specialize in.
Right.
That helps them move forward. Right.
Yep. Absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think we all have mentioned and talked about the fact that it's, if you want to work in this business or create things in this business, you really have to make your own opportunities. And I really try to impart that on my students. It's, quit waiting for someone to just discover you at an HEB, create your own work, and that's, I think, what a lot of us are doing now, because we just recognize that that's the only way we're going to get a chance. No one's going to, the cavalry is not coming. No one is going to be knocking down your door, to give you an opportunity. You have to knock down the doors, and even then some, create your own opportunities. So you're absolutely right. It's all about that, creating the opportunities, and then you figure out how to do all the things, right? Because we all wear a million hats.
Was that a Duplass Brothers reference?
It was. How did you know?
Because it was. I'm sorry, Danielle. I'll let you go in a minute.
No. Go ahead.
Do you know what we're talking about? I think it was South by Southwest keynote that they gave, and they were talking about when they first started. They thought the cavalry was coming. If I do this movie, then now the cavalry is coming. If I'm so successful, now the people are going to want me, and it's going to be easier. And they realized that no matter what happened, they had to do the same things to make the next film. Film, there is no cavalry. Like, you are the cavalry.
Exactly. Yeah. Really. I did steal that from the Duplass Brothers. Short little side note here. I took an acting class with Jay many years ago, before, he and Mark started making those films. And so I've watched them and followed their career, because they're grassroots, just like us. But yeah, I stole that from them. So I should have credited the person.
No, I think most of us knew. We knew it.
Yeah.
Well, you get the little ding the bell now. That's fine. You're good.
Yeah.
When you're starting out like this, and you're moving through this process, and you're like, okay, kind of like what you guys were just talking about, is the cavalry's not coming, and you're hitting some walls that you want to just stop. What is it that made you keep going?
I'd say stubborn is probably number one. I'm pretty stubborn about things. And I think I was born with this innate desire to want to do big things and make a mark, a legacy that was bigger than me. And that's always been with every film. That's always been what has pushed me, is just knowing that I'm this little tiny voice, but if I can make this one film, and most of my films do have a purposeful, I guess some might say message of forgiveness, hope, things of that nature. And so I've always just felt like, hey, if this is my way to spread a message, a positive message, then, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that's just for me, it happened to be embodied in movies. People pick other poetry, writing books, making music to kind of, leave that mark of positivity. For me, I just was crazy enough to pick movies to do it. So, so that's what propels me. It really is this like fire that I can't put out. And I've always thought, each movie just as hard as the last one. And I think, this time I can't do it, it's just too hard. And then I have a community of amazing supporters every time. Team, it's about the community and the team, just as you guys build around you, that helps you keep pushing. And so I'd say that persistence of wanting to, create something positive, coupled with the people that, for whatever reason, believe in me and keep pushing me forward too, because I do want to give up so many times in the process. But I think it's been those two, important things for me.
Awesome. Oh,
so when you're thinking about giving up, is it the team? Is it the story? Is just the work that's involved in it? Are all of the above? Probably in certain situations, because what we run into on various film sets they vary. So your students, I'm sure they come to you and have an assignment. They've got to fulfill it. And what is the hardest thing that a lot of you find your students facing?
Funny enough, we all of us probably started in the business, all three of us, around the same time, and they still have the same struggles that we did. I think a lot of it is just starting is the hardest part. I was talking to a student the other day who's about to graduate in a couple weeks. Texas State students graduate in like 2 weeks. And she wanted, just to talk about what I thought about for her and her path. And she's an actress, and she wanted, just some feedback and encouragement and thoughts about what I thought she should do. And her boyfriend's a writer. And I said, okay, you're an actress, your boyfriend's a writer. Why doesn't he just write a movie for you to be in? And she had this look of like, wait a minute, like I can do that. I said, what, are you waiting for permission? Like, there's no advisory board that's going to go like, yes, you may write a script and you may be in it. Now you got to be willing to do the work after you make that decision. But I think a lot of times there is kind of this illusory vision of making a movie and how impossible it is, because it is, that I think a lot of times they just don't even know how to start. And I think that's half the battle as educators, is just reminding them, hey, you have and I asked her, I said, don't you have friends that are filmmakers? Because we now have a great filmmaking program at Texas State as well. I said, I know you have filmmaking friends, friends that someone who can shoot it, someone who can, produce it, direct it. And she just started thinking like, yeah, I do know all those people. And so I think assembling the confidence and the people and just hitting that start button. I mean, I don't know what that start button was for you guys, but for me, it's been different things over the years. And, what do you guys like? What's been your start button?
For me, I put myself in a lane, and I'm not somebody, Ben knows, I don't put myself in lanes. I will do so many different things. But when I started acting first, and I said, I'm an actress, and somebody wanted me to direct. A friend of mine wanted me to direct. They had a web series, and she just was trying to convince me over and over again. And I'm like, I'm just an actress. And I never saw myself as directing, although I did directing and managing and other facets in the technology sector and in the financial area. And I just didn't see myself as something beyond this particular category. And it didn't even dawn on me that I could do it. And I love, love, love directing. So I did it. And to be able to see past where you peg yourself is fascinating, that you even put yourself in this position in the first place. But knowing that you have people that were encouraging, I think a lot of times the community that you surround yourself with has a big deal with pushing you forward if you don't see beyond your position where you are right at the moment. And so, I mean, even, age sometimes for me does that here and there. And I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm writing music. I used to write music when I was younger, and I stopped writing music for almost 20 something years. And so, yeah. And I just didn't even think about it. I'm like, oh, girl, you can write music. Write your music.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just started, we were fighting, dancing. My intro was pretty easy. I had a friend tell me, hey, I was teaching him how to dance because he was an actor. I never thought I was going to be an actor. And then he said, hey, all that stuff you're doing is stunts. You should look into it. And so years later, when I got an opportunity, I was living in Austin, and I got involved in the stunt community. And because we were doing stunts, we did not have anyone casting us in anything. We were pretty fresh and pretty new, and we didn't have reels or anything. So we just got cameras and just started shooting stuff. It was terrible, but it was a start. It was not good, but like people saw us doing it, and they saw us doing it all the time. And then that just picked up momentum from there. Very early on, we shot a feature. I apologize to the group that had us do that, but they lost their crew, and they were like, "Hey, we know you can." I was casting it, and they were like, "Hey, I know you can film. Can you help us do this?" So our team, Ballistic Blade, just shot that movie, and I don't know if it was good, but it was better than whatever they weren't going to shoot.
So true. Hey, you got it.
Right. We got it. It got done. So then we're off to the races from there. So I do hear what you're saying. I think a lot of us, like what Danielle's talking about, if you had success, especially if you were like a high-end manager or something over here, and now you want to get into film, or you've been a straight A student and now you want to get into film, and you got to start back from the bottom, that can be very scary to step out and risk not doing a good job in public. I can understand that fear. I can understand that fear.
Yeah, we try to, one of the things we, try to say over and over to students is fail forward, and that stuck with me as an adult. I picked it up off of other, lecturers, professors, instructors, but started thinking, you know what, even at my age, we'll just fail forward. It's fine. It kind of gives you a little bit of that cushion, realizing that it's okay to fail. You're still failing forward because you're still learning, from the experience and taking something with you.
I heard a guy say you can trip upstairs.
Oh, yes. There you go.
I was like,
I've done that a few times. It doesn't feel very good, but yeah.
Well, it's better than tripping downstairs,
No, it's crazy because, I am not afraid to fail. I don't like to lose in public. Okay. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like being embarrassed, but I'm not afraid to try.
Right.
I'm going to get out there. I can give it the good old college try. Like if we're playing a sport that I don't know how to play, I don't want to compete in front of a crowd having no idea what I'm doing. But if you give me like a day to study a little bit, I'm willing to jump on a team and play whatever, even if I may not be great. I just want to be competitive, right? But I'm willing to not be great and build. So that kind of puts me like maybe in a little bit different scenario than some people, because I always like business and entrepreneurial stuff. So I know that stuff is, you're progressively getting better. But I know for a lot of people, that's not how they see it. Or if you come out swinging from, I'm going to make $100,000 movie, or I'm going to make an $80,000 movie, you're going to have a different feeling about that. It's a very different feeling when tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars are going in.
Yeah. Hey, James.
Oh, Yeah, good old James. He was one of the people that's very excited about your talk. And so actually let's get into your specialties. So you've been doing films. What is like your primary budget focus? Do you have like a range you like to lock in on, or?
Yeah, I do. I always say that under 350,000 is less problems and less egos.
Really?
Yes. Because it's so grassroots that you're only going to get to involve people that really want to do it.
Ooh.
There's less egos, because if you're working with a $350,000 budget, then people that might have the bigger egos wouldn't even jump onto something like that. And then you have to have a really good script that people believe in. So you're going to lock in people that are there because they want to be there. Right. Now, I don't suggest working for a $350,000 budget. I've been fortunate. Like I said, my producing partners on The Place in Between are really good friends of mine, like sisters. And so jumping into a project with people that you're close to, that you love working with, where every day is like going to just pal around and have fun, working really hard, makes it so much easier. So I don't say that lightly, 350K. I don't say that lightly. I say that knowing, the resources I've had with that kind of budget. And then the Harvest of Redemption, my first one, was, as you know, even less than that, 25,000. So I'd say that's because my movies are small. They're people stories. There's no explosions, pyrotechnics, no awesome stunts that your colleagues do. I can't afford you guys. It's really like heart stories that I stick to. And so that's a lot more manageable on that kind of budget.
That's fair. If you ever have a story that does have some fun stuff in it, let me know. You are Film Fam. We will work something out. We'll figure it out.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but no, I love what you're saying. We're kind of in the middle of doing something like that right now. Something we had a bigger idea that we're compressing to like a 20-ish, 15-ish type situation. So it will be it is more of a character, personal story.
Yeah.
That leads into the bigger action.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That kind of, so we're taking a page out of your book, and I would probably be reaching out to you about some questions. So, but I like this 350 thing because I had a conversation with a gentleman. I don't remember his name, and I'm not, I probably wouldn't say it I try not to say names if I can, but his comment was, he's like, I don't know how you make money on a $300,000 movie, because this was like an upper end, multi-million-dollar person. And I was talking about, as far as his movies are concerned, and I was talking about, there's a movie I wanted to tell. It's got ninjas in it, and it's post-apocalyptic. And I said I could do it in Texas for like $250, right? Might have to borrow a couple things, call in a couple favors, but easily I could do the idea I had for that amount. And he was not interested because he did not think he did not know how to make the money back. So what are your thoughts on something like that? Like because since that's your specialty.
Yeah. I know. It's like, where do you bridge the gap, right? How do you make money? So I've come up with a formula that may not work for everybody or every film.
Okay.
But I believe if you make a film, no stars, okay? And there's a lot of caveats here, so bear with me. No stars, no names, but good story. Preferably based on a true story, inspired by a true story. Those films tend to do relatively well, especially if they're low budget. Keep it low budget, keep it under 350, no names. And what you do with a film like that is you take it to market, you get a sales agent, you go to AFM, and you're going to get probably a low figure offer. But those are the films that you can kind of like spread out as far as the money and the sales that you're getting. So the company that we've been talking to about The Place in Between has come up with kind of like a 5 to 7 year strategy. So you have to know, with a movie of that budget and no stars, you're not going to make $2 million right off the bat when you sell it, right? But you could very well have some longevity, have some foreign sales in there, and do kind of like a longer strategy. So it's going to take longer to make your money, and you're not going to make as much, but you're also taking a lower risk on the front end. Like I have a problem with asking for people for money. Like if I were to ask for over 350,000, that's so high risk for me to know that I can take it to market and I'm going to be able to pay them back plus their, back end percentage points. And I want to go to investors confident that I know I can make their money back. And so for me, it's advantageous to keep the budget as low as possible, because
that is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the way that you said that. You said, I want to go to them confident I can get their money back. I feel like normally when we talk to filmmakers, that isn't what they're concerned about. I think a lot of people are more concerned with the reach of a film and the prestige that they'll get from making this film. And so they're willing to get as much money from as many people as possible. And I'm like, if everyone understands that that's what the plan is, hey, we're going to make 2 movies. This first one is kind of going to be a loss leader and establish our production group as quality. We're going to do whatever we can to get on Netflix, Hulu, wherever, to get prestige, win awards. We're not going to make any money on it, but we'll make money on the sequel or the next thing we do as a group. That's fine. If someone just wants to try to win an Oscar or whatever, that's fine. I think for most of us, especially when you're under the 300K, around that range, I think, I'm writing a book on this, I think your goal should be to make the money back.
Yes.
Is to do good business.
Yes.
And I think if you can do good business and you can figure out how to make it, at least make people whole who spend money on this 300K project, these are people who will come back and invest again. And you can do more things, and you don't need new batches of investors every time you do a movie because you are making a profit for them and you're making things work. Would you agree with that? Like, is that kind of where sounds like that's what you're saying?
Yeah, I'd rather people trust me than get awards.
No, it makes perfectly good sense. Yeah.
It's a clip.
I mean, you're building longevity and a legacy in a sense in a relationship. So it's the relationship word to me is what you're really doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's what I value most in this business, because you all know it's so hard and it's hard to find people that you can trust. And I don't want to be that director. I don't want to be that guy that's like, give me a whole bunch of money. Oops, can't pay it back.
Oh, you mortgage your house? Sorry. We got this award. This award, though.
But look at how pretty this is, right?
I don't like. Hold on, I got. It's like, ooh, look at like this. Like, we got an award.
Yeah.
Like, what's funny? One of the funniest things is that I used to see people who say like award-winning filmmaker, and when I didn't have a film festival, that meant a big deal to me. And it's good. It's cool. It feels good to win your first couple of awards. It's nice to know that you beat your whatever performed well. So right. I don't want to knock that, right? And we have a film festival. We like giving awards, and people have stiff competition, and it means a lot to win those. But as an investor, I don't care. Like and I look at okay. When I come to a year film, and if you cannot pay me scale, right? You can't pay me what the going rate is, but I'm trying to help you do something, and I believe in your project. To me, I've invested my time and energy in your project because I'm foregoing my actual day rate to help this thing happen. So now I'm thinking like an investor.
Yeah.
I want this to work. Or if I have back end, I want this to work. I'm less concerned about those awards. I am concerned about, is this going to work? Can we get to the next film? Can we do something bigger and better? Okay. So cool. So talk to us a bit about distribution, because you went to AFM, and we've talked to so many people about AFM, and we've got so many sides of this story. So what is your opinion? Wins, losses, how'd you set yourself up for success? If there were wins, just talk a little bit about that.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because I've had a lot of people ask me about that knew we went to AFM and, took our film there. And it's just a world that you have to know you're going in as shark bait, right? Like when I was fortunate enough to have lived in LA, and when AFM was there, I went as a spectator, and I got to, just kind of watch what was happening and see the environment and like the vibe of it. And so I knew going in, when I actually took our film to sell it, I knew what I was walking into. And I think that was beneficial for me, because I wasn't there to make friends. I wasn't there to just talk to people. Networking was great, but I went there to sell a movie. And so everything that I did, every person that I spoke to, every card that I handed out and grabbed was for that purpose. And I just had to be really laser focused, and went with my one of my producing partners on the film, Starla Christian, and we just work really well together, and we prepared our pitch masterfully until it was perfect. We practiced with each other. We refined it and refined it. We took all our materials, got feedback from people on our poster, on our log line, on our synopsis, on our one page. And then Starla had friends that had gone to AFM the year prior and had success, sold their movies. So she set up conference call Zooms for us to talk to them, kind of get like a support team, to get us ready for it. And I think had I been younger or earlier in my career, I don't know that we would have been as successful as we were, getting offers and things at AFM. I think my life experience of failing forward or falling up the stairs gives you that life experience to go in knowing you probably are going to fail, but being okay with it. Because if you walk in, go ahead.
Oh, no. You finish your thought. I can come in. I'll remember.
I was just going to say about the shark bait, those sales reps, those sales agents, distribution agents, they can smell fresh blood. And they will know when you're not seasoned. They will know when you don't know how to read a contract. Ooh. And they will offer you, $5,000 just to say you're going to get your film distributed, and then you don't ever know anything about it after that. So able to go into the room, Starla and myself, being in the business 20 years, I had already produced, sold my first film. So I knew what I was getting into, and they knew that I knew what I was talking about. And that made the biggest difference.
Because I was going to ask, were there any nonsense offers that you got that you could?
Oh, yes.
So we could get back into this, but what are some things that you heard them say that were offered to you that were utterly ridiculous, immediate red flags? Is there anything?
Immediate red flag was, we're not going to give you anything. Just give us your movie. And then if it makes money, then we'll give you money. That's red flag, like times 10. Yeah. And those are the ones that are checking to see, like, if you know what you're doing. Right. And so, and if you ask for the contract and if they give any pushback, red flag number 2.
Oh, okay.
Anything else on top of that? I have a question, a digression question that I want to pose in just a second, but was there anything else on top of that you can?
There were a few that made us feel like we don't really want your movie, but we're going to do you a favor.
Oh, what's that?
I mean, if you're trying to drive the price down, I could see them trying to pull that move. I've heard of like, we want your movie in perpetuity.
Yes.
We want it for 20 years.
Yeah.
All the whole world will give you like $5,000, but we want worldwide distribution rights.
Right.
Those are the main ones I've heard that sounded problematic.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
We didn't get any of those, but I have heard of those happening.
Okay.
So let me jump back just for a moment into your teaching. One of the things that I know, I have a lot of friends that have gone to major schools for filmmaking, but they weren't taught the business side of it. The creative side is just robust, but the business side of it, it's like, doctors going to school, they know this much about nutrition.
Right.
So for what you're talking about right now, do you get in deep with your students, or with regards to pitching and those things that you're talking about, going to AFM, to where they are prepared with that business acumen when they walk out the door.
Yes. That's
fantastic.
I'm sorry.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, if I'm not going to share that, my stories of falling forward and failing and how I got around those obstacles, then there's no point in me being there. They're paying for an education academically, but it would only be fair if I told them about the real world stuff. And they have shared with me that that's something that they really appreciate. The academics are necessary to get the paper, but once you get the paper and, you're thrown out into the wolves, then it's sink or swim. Right. So thank you for asking me that. Yeah, I try to insert all those little nuggets, and I've done casting for my films and, other films. And so since I do teach performance and production, when I'm teaching performance, I'm able to share the stories of what it's like to audition for a film, what it's like to walk into a room with a casting director who doesn't care, how cute you are, wants to know if you're going to deliver,
Yep.
So, that is really important. I do share those little nuggets.
Oh my God.
No, thank you for sharing that.
I'm sorry. When you said that, I was just thinking about, we did a casting one time and that happened. And the person came in, I could tell she was positioning herself via attractiveness for a role where that didn't even matter. It's like a very violent action-y role. And it's like, it doesn't matter how pretty you are. Like, it has nothing to do with, because I can't make you look good on screen if you can't fight. Right. For the role we're doing. Because there was no training, there was no nothing. You had to come in ready. And so it was very interesting when I've been in scenarios where people believe that that's going to get them the role. And I'm like, that doesn't, unless that's part of the role, I could care absolutely less how you look. So a lot of fun. So
I'm curious then, when you are casting, like, is there a blend or a balance of how much them looking the part versus their, action stunt ability? Like, how do you? Okay.
If the role, like, there's a movie where the lead is specifically Latino. If you're not, it's just not going to matter. Like, if you don't look Latin enough, like, I wanted to be overtly Latin, you need to be overtly some version of Spanish looking, right?
Right.
If you don't look like that, I can't use you. If you're not the right physical build, I can't use you. If you don't have the skill set where you at least your stage combat is at least 5, 6 out of 10, I can't use you because I don't have time to get into the weeds with someone who would be for that particular role.
Sure.
So absolutely, there are definitely roles where I'm like, we don't have time for a stunt double. We're independent filmmakers, so typically speaking, I need you to kind of look the part. I need you to be able to do some of the actions at least, and have some level of skill where you're not coming in from zero for a lot of these action heavy roles. So it is always a blend of all of those things. And if you're not fighting, great. Or you don't have a heavy action role, I can play around with it. I'm normally flexible with who plays what character. The genders can change. If I get a really good actor or actress, I'll change the role.
Nice.
But, and I'll change if the color of the skin or whatever doesn't matter for the culture of whatever we're doing. I'm malleable with a lot of those things if I have a strong, crazy strong performance.
Right.
So I'm pretty flexible there.
Do you find that it's some of those skills, let's say they don't have the talent, it's not there. I know my acting students want to hear some of this. Is it teachable?
For me, it is.
Depending on what we're doing and how much time we have, either for production or pre-production. So if I know this isn't a strong actor, but they really have all the other elements, but there's some things they're going to need. Maybe they're not primarily an actor, right? We have a lot of people who are not primarily actors. If I have the time to do coaching beforehand, or I know we have enough time on set, great. But if we're doing 10 to 15 pages a day,
that's different.
Yeah.
I can't help you.
Yeah.
Does
For me, if you're listening, I look for listening. And so there's a lot of, and I'm able to coach you through different scenes. And yeah, so there's time. But if you're able, and I'm somebody that will move, I don't stick to the script all the time because I like to see what the character can bring to the story, and I will move. I'm okay with messing with the script. Some people aren't, but if you're listening really closely, not just to me as a director, but to your partner as an actress, you're feeding off of each other, then I know that there's possibility there, and I can move through the scenes a little bit better. So yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, Danyelle, because we've been talking about listening. Listening, being directful,
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I was talking about, casting someone who did not look like what I intended. One of the things that was so good was that particular actor, I watched them when they weren't speaking. And it was one of my earlier projects, and I was like, man, this guy's good. Because even when he's not saying his lines, even when he's cold reading from a page, I can see he's engaged and listening to what's going on. He's reacting. And that's one of the things, and again, I want to be very clear. I'm no major level thespian. I'm no acting teacher. I'm not that guy. Okay. I got in because I could punch, kick, and dance.
Though. If you're
right. I'm just saying, I just want to put it out there. So I'm sure I do things wrong in auditions, and I'm not flawless either. But when I am watching people, and that is one of the things I'm paying attention to. Even if you're cold reading, are you present? Because we're going to cut to a reaction. I'm going to need you to sell it. I'm going to need you to push your partner. So these are things that I've learned from being in film. I wish I had gone to school and learned it the better way and had the timing. And I didn't have that. I had to learn from doing very bad short films.
That was your film school.
Yes. Actually, I'm hoping to connect with some local schools here as well to get some people involved from these different, because we have so many alumni from these different colleges.
Yeah.
I'm from Central Texas College myself.
Yay.
Go Ducks. So I'm looking to do some things to bring some of our local schools into involvement with our film festival and the things we're doing with the movies as well, because we do want to help train and give people who haven't had an opportunity to do some of this stuff a chance, and moreover to see that there's a viable career in this. So what are some things that we haven't covered that you would like to talk about that might someone who wants to take filmmaking seriously, they want to make a living, at least a middle class living doing film? Do you have any particular advice for them?
I think it just goes back to what we already said, is create your own thing. The two films that one that I sold and this one selling, I made them, I've never, and I tell my students all the time, and even after these two, no one's knocking on my door, Laura, can you come make my next movie? No,
we might. You might get a call from us.
We might be doing that.
when this goes live, when this goes out, we do the clips. You might get some phone calls.
Let's hope. But yeah, just make and create your own opportunities and surround yourself with good people like you guys, other creators. Create your, find your tribe, stick together, encourage each other, foster each other's creativity and work. But I think in addition to that is just be willing to grind. That's what it is. And y'all know, right? A lot of people that have seen, we've been on the festival circuit. I think we're on festival number 7 now for The Place in Between, which has been amazing. So, and it's so much fun. And we do have a blast and get to meet other filmmakers and travel and all of that. But I still have my full-time job. I'm not just attending premieres, all the time. So the balance, of doing that and being willing to continue amidst all the obstacles and adversity and, nothing falling in your lap, that persistence is important, I think.
Okay. And what do you have coming up that we should be on the lookout for people to support your work? What are you excited about right now?
Right now, The Place in Between, we're still taking offers for distribution, and we're continuing our festival run, and we'll be making a decision on that soon, hopefully. But I'm jumping back into my documentary. It's called American Orange, and it's about a chemical company that manufactured Agent Orange during the Vietnam War in a neighborhood of my hometown. And that community has had alarming cancer rates and cancer clusters for years. I started that documentary 20 years ago when I was living in LA, and there was a lawsuit going on at the time. And when the chemical companies heard about this documentary that I was doing, they subpoenaed me and my footage, and they tried to take my footage away from me. Wow. So I was in hiding for a while, and I was able to skirt away from these chemical companies. And I put it away for a while because more important than anything, I wanted to make the movie, but I didn't want to lose my footage or the story. I wanted to, keep that integrity. So I put it to the side, and I'm resurrecting it now. I've got DV tapes that I need to convert now. I have a short film that I've made out of it, and now I'm started the grant cycle, but I'll be doing a fundraising campaign towards the end of the year. So that'll be coming. And then I have a feature film that I'm attached to produce. A dear friend of mine, Melinda Marukin, she is directing. It's called Why Am I Still Single? It's a feature film. It's a cheesy, raunchy rom-com, all female cast and female director. And it's about women in their, late 20s, 30s, and trying to figure out, why they haven't found the one. And it's coincidentally based on true stories that I lived through, as well as my dear friend Melinda, who wrote and is directing the film. So those three things are on the horizon right now, keeping pretty busy.
Okay, well, definitely keep us posted. We will do whatever we can to help and facilitate as much as we can.
Thank you.
And just when we're done, send me an email with the projects you're looking to get done, because we always meet distributors and sales agents through the normal course of trying to bring them to the event. And the first thing I normally like to ask them is like, hey, what are you looking for right now? So if I can connect them with content we've had for the last couple of years, or people I know that are doing things, I just do that. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
May I ask what's the town that the Agent Orange?
My hometown of Mission, Texas, where I grew up.
Okay.
It's near the Mexican border, 7 miles from the Mexican border. And something people might want to dig into if you're into environmental pollution or contamination. It's very near the area of Brownsville where Elon Musk has set up SpaceX with very little SpaceX. Basically, they own, I don't know how many miles of territory near South Padre Island with very little restrictions. And so these communities are, heavily Latino population, and big chemical companies and big, rocket companies are pretty able to go in and set up shop with very little restrictions in these communities, which digs deep into, some of the social and racial, disparities in how we allow chemical companies and big corps and big pharma to go set up shop. So that's what my documentary dives into.
Awesome.
I grew up along.
They tried to subpoena you. Now I want to see it.
I grew up along the Texas coast, and where I grew up as well, it's not too far from there, actually.
Galveston,
Lake Jackson, and Freeport, in the area.
Yes. Oh,
so
yeah.
There's tons of. My dad died of asbestosis. A whole nother different situation. But yeah, it's got very similar types of a lot of cancer in where I grew up. So I understand them. So I feel for you. I understand, and whatever I can do to help with that.
Thank you. And I'm sorry about your father. That when I started shooting this documentary 20 years ago, I got close to a lot of the victims, that were involved in this, and I think 6 of them have now passed since then. So it's definitely a story that needs to be told, but it's a very sad one. So it's one that I have to continue, and I'm going to finish.
Go, girl.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So I think we pretty much hit everything in that 54 minutes. We did pretty good. We covered a lot. We're definitely going to have you back when you have any updates talking about what you're going through. We always like to have people with the smoke of battle coming off of them, talking about what they're going through so that other people can learn. So we definitely appreciate you sharing. If people want to follow you, get in contact with you, support you in any way, where should they go to do that?
So my Instagram is producer Laura-Perez, I believe. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. My Instagram is Laura-Perez Films. And then my Facebook is Laura-Perez Producer. So those are the two main places that you can find me.
Okay.
Or lauraperez.com has a link where you can contact me directly as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll drop all that in the comments, and we'll put something in the description as well.
Thank you. I love you. You're both, and your community and your team is just a huge source of positivity and support. And you radiate just this genuine kindness and caring for other people. And I just want you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed, and it's a beautiful thing to see in this industry.
I love that.
Thank you. I needed that today. It's been a rough day. Thank you very much. You do not even know. Yes. But we just, we've been wildly blessed to meet cool people who have the same energy. Yeah. And we have a rule. We have a no a-hole rule on set. I don't do that on other people's sets. You're not going to do it around us. And I've considered the festival a set. So you came, you were awesome. You were so giving, and everybody was so excited to hear what you had to say and talk and hang out. And so we've just been gathering this army of people who are like-minded, because we don't think that the stories we've heard about film and Hollywood and the way people talk about how it is kind of sharks, I get it, it's business, but it doesn't have to be ugly. And we're just trying to, I think in Texas, we could do it a little bit better than that. So
I agree.
All right.
You know what? I will say this because this is to my fellow Bobcats out there. I chose that school because it made me feel like we feel here. And I look for that feeling everywhere I go. And for 2 years, I put myself through the whole Austin market of just learning the business from extra to, being on the other side of the camera and all types of stuff. And these guys are my home. And I finally found lots of yucky stuff through those 2 years, but a lot more towards the end, a lot more wonderful. And so this is the wonderful that I found. Awesome. So yeah. And it's been a delight meeting you, Laura.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. Well, on that note, Film Fam, again, it's us. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Action Addicts Podcast. And we will catch you on the next one.
Grinding through the system, never losing the mission. Action Addicts Podcast, our hustle's the vision. Talking film biz, tips with precision. If we can't make deals, then there's no collision. No